All right, so that you can see there's like a 1, and then you open up wider to like the 2. I'm going to go right between the 1 and the 2, like 1.5. All right, if you do 1.25, that's fine too. All right, you put your point in the middle of your circle. If you really want to be precise about this, your circle is 7 inches long, because that's how big the pallets are. So at 3.5, I make a mark. And then another mark, like 3.5 right here. All right, so right around there. Put my point down and draw my small circle. The small circle is going to be the pupil of your eye. Right, so you don't want it like too huge. All right. And that is all you need the compass for. So when you're done with that, you can put it back. All right, so now you're going to start to separate your circle. So once again, kind of line it up in the middle. And you could draw through the middle, because you're going to Sharpie the center. All right, and then you want to divide this into 2 pieces. And I'm just going to eyeball it. If you want to measure this and have it be really precise, that is up to you. But this is not math. This is, you know, Art 1. So as long as you have your sections there, you're good. Make sure you pass through the middle. If you draw on the outside of your circle, that's okay, because you're going to be cutting these out anyway. So anything that's kind of beyond the circle is going to be eliminated. Oops. Okay, so I have red, and you can write this down to kind of, this is going to be yellow, orange, this is yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, blue, violet. Okay, so now when you're going to start painting, you want a small brush, you want some water. And the nice thing about the watercolors is that you can let them dry overnight and you can still use them the next day. All right, so I have my red from last period. So I'm just going to add some more water to that and rehydrate it, which means that it's going to work again. And now I'm going to fill this in. Oh, I forgot one thing. You need to draw your, kind of like the highlights of your eye before you start coloring it in. So make sure you have those drawn in. All right, so I'm going to paint just that top section. I'm not going to paint that second circle because that's where my Sharpie is going to be. Now, the thing about watercolor, which is a little different than using the acrylics, is if you put 2 wet sections next to each other, they're going to bleed together. So I'm not going to paint red-orange right away because I don't want that to be, I don't want that to go into my red. So I'm going to take my palette, I'm going to fill a well with a little bit of yellow paint. And I'm going to do my yellow again. So basically I want to paint this in sections away from each other and give those areas a chance to dry. We will do more watercolor later this marking period. So this is kind of your introduction to it. And then I'm going to do my blue. All right, and if you kind of want to make the paint should look, it should look fluid. So you want to kind of keep adding water to it to kind of make it move around. All right, and then I can fill in my orange. So I have that mixed up from last period. All right, and that's just red and yellow mixed together. A little bit of watercolor goes a long way, so you do not need to squeeze out a lot of paint in order to get enough to use for your work. Now I'm going to make a green, so I'll take a little bit of my blue, a little bit of my yellow. Let's see here. Mix that. And my green. All right, and then I can make my violet. So once again, blue. I'm just going to find like a clean area for that. Red. These actually mix a little bit better than the acrylics. They kind of look more like the real color. So like your violet actually looks like violet and not like a weird brown. Okay. And then you'll see these start to dry pretty quickly. Like my red is already pretty dry from what I did before, so I could start to do my red orange. When you have your color wheel filled in, you're going to grab a Sharpie and you're going to Sharpie the middle. All right, and literally you're just coloring it in. Right? You're not coloring your little like highlight areas, right? Because that's going to make it look like an eye, like it's, your eye is liquid, so you want to make sure that you kind of have those like reflective areas to make it look more realistic. Okay, so you fill in that whole middle section. But make notes on the outside for yourself if you need to, because like I said, you're going to cut this out. No one's going to see this stuff on the outside. So if you don't, you know, you just have it there for your own reference. Okay, if you're going to work on these for a few days and you're going to leave this on the counter, please make sure you put your name on it, because they will all look the same the first couple days that we're working on this until we get into the drawing part. So you want to make sure you can differentiate your color wheel from everybody else's in this class. So please make sure you put your name on your paper. All right.